included proprietary drivers at the time, and that would make it be perceived as a kind of a distro that goes the way of Linspire or Netflix.
Well,
I'm going to throw in a couple of quick jokes here while they're fresh in my mind. The first one was, you were impressed by how stable it was. There's me thinking, what, my pronunciation? I thought, oh, right, the distro. Right, okay, got you. Talking about two different things here. And then the next thing was, just when you said, Roy, about the ext4 before it went stable, and it's a thing about losing little files and things, and I just thought, that's the ideal file system for the CIA, just for making little people disappear, you know?
Yeah.
So it's perfect for the CIA. Why are they not using that? Right,
maybe they are.
I think the story was some of the programmers around Linux were working with very small files where they had some code contained, and they were trying to update these files as they were going along, and they found they were disappearing. So I think what's his first name? Ted Theodore. So yeah, he works for Google now. I think he moved from IBM to no, I think it's Google, and he's the person in charge of this file system, which is so mature in fact now that even Google adopted in Android. So the future releases of Android are going to use X4, and that's quite exciting. It shows you how it basically passed even Google's rigorous tests for how many phones do they sell? Like, well, I know they activate like 1/3 per day, and that would be like 2 million a week. Yeah, phones.
I was quite lucky just to wrap.
In other words, wet dream territory for Microsoft.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Right, we sort of threw me. I'm just going to round off by saying, well, I jumped on my distro about, I think it was version 5.3, so all these issues were sort of sorted. And what I would say is that it's got a very minty theme to it in that it requires very little maintenance. The Gentoo name puts a lot of people off, and certainly in the case of Symbion, it shouldn't put people off because this is very minty in respect of it installs out the box, simple, no fuss, no messing. I personally have no problem with proprietary software, proprietary drivers, providing, and I'll put a big providing in capitals and underline it. Now, I'm aware of what it is. It's not hidden from me, and it's required for my computing experience. If those criteria are met, I have no problem with it whatsoever. So moving on now, we're going to go to favourite util of 2010. Now, before we say anything more, this isn't a case of the best util. This is maybe your most commonly used utility, the one utility you can't live without. It doesn't have to be the best of its batch. It can be just the one that you personally like because its GUI's set out the way you like it. But your one favourite util of 2010. And I'll go to you, Roy, first. What would you pick?
Yeah, I had to think about it while we were actually sort of asking the question, and I had to roll around my workspaces and find one of my favorite things that have something to do with 2010. And I, without much doubt, probably would say Minirock, which is a music player that's based on Amarok, as the name probably would suggest. And the reason it's been extremely useful to me is because I was looking for a replacement that doesn't take as much RAM and CPU as Amarok 2, especially having used Amarok since the very early releases. I think 2005 or 2005 was the first time I used Amarok. I wasn't even sure what it was at the time. It was just introducing to KDE. One of the issues I had is some of the applications that you use, or at least one of them, would take over a gigabyte of memory. And then my music player would be one of those things that kind of stand in the way and leading to the swap file being used. So lots of people find that even music players today can take over 100 megabytes for fairly simple things, and they look for things like XMMS, which I had used since like 2001 or so in Linux. And I was looking for something that still works. I'm not sure if you know this, but XMMS is kind of retired for most distros. It uses old sound systems, and it's not very compatible with anything. And I was looking, and I've been trying quite a few players which were light, and this was the best one which I found, which was based on Amarok. I think you have at least 3 or 5 of them, which are just lightweight replacements based on the Qt framework and based on Amarok, and this is one of them. So it's an exceptionally useful, simple music player that I can still use with global shortcuts, which means I can change songs without going to the application. I can just use my keyboard with shortcuts to do that. So yeah, that's my very long answer.
I'll give my. I mean, like I said, I'll stress this is just favourite utility, and if I was going to be boring, I'll probably have to say it's probably fairest to say K3B, the burning software, because I deploy a lot of Linux to people. I burn a lot of Linux live CDs, and I love it, and it's never failed me yet. So unlike Brazio, which produced a lot of problems when I had it running before, I've had no such issues with this particular KDE package. So that would be my boring recommendation, but I'm not going to recommend that one. My recommendation, because I'm going to try and be unusual, I'm going to try and be a bit elite in inverted commas underscored, is going to be EUAE, which is the Amiga emulator. Thanks to that piece of software, I've been rediscovering my Amiga roots, tapping away with a bit of coding, bringing back my days of yesteryear and reminiscing in what could have been. And so yes, UAE, the Amiga emulator, is my utility of choice for 2010. And now, Gordon, over to you. Your one.
Right. The XMMS thing, that's GTK1, and it was deprecated. A lot of distros and sort of a bit of an outcry, and certainly Ubuntu kind of brought it back because there was an outcry. But yeah, anyway, my outfit of the year is called GTK Record My Desktop, which is a screencasting, an easy GUI screencasting app. And the reason for that simply is because I've been playing about with screencasting before, but this 2010 was when I started the Digital Prison screencasts. I've got plenty more episodes in mind, and for that, I could not do that without GTK Record My Desktop. It makes it so simple. A monkey a monkey could do it basically. Well, maybe not the talking part, or well, maybe not a comprehensive, so you can comprehend it. But I mean, you get what I mean. Yeah, the GTK Record My Desktop produces a lovely OGG video file with OGG Vorbis audio and OGG Theora video, which I can then convert into MP3 and put up onto Vimeo and Blip to share knowledge. So basically, without GTK Record My Desktop, there's no way that the Digital Prism screencast could happen. And because I've got easy access to do that, I can reboot into Mint and just fire that up. Then it enables me to record screencasts about other projects as well. So yeah, that's my tip for the year. Well, my art for the year.
I also found out about it the previous year, just the end of last year, and I should actually echo the recommendation of Gordon, because it's an exceptionally simple application to do a task which usually was quite a monumental one. Having to deal with the audio and video and how do I do this and that. And this is really just click the button to start, and then you press stop and just I even used that to pass to a colleague of mine a presentation of my work to explain what I was doing from a distance. You know, you have to try and explain what you do on the screen and put things there. It's excellent. And it compresses the files really nicely, so you get very compressed, nice OGG files that you can pass to a person too.
Quick tip on that. I mean, I'm actually going to do how I record these episode, which is going to be interesting to make sure I don't sort of stop. It's like one GTK Record My Desktop session inside another, and I don't want to be sort of stopping the wrong one. But anyway, I'm going to do a screencast about that. But one of the quick tips, if you are planning to encode it to some other format and you want to do it easily, in my case, I transcode it onto MP4 and have that available as well. Go into the settings and change it to 30 frames a second. This is important. This is very important, because a lot of the presets, they look for things like that. And if the frame rate is the same, it'll transcode no problem. If the frame rate is different, by default, GTK Record My Desktop does it at 15 frames a second, which is fine for screencasts. It just throws all the audio out of sync. If you're using one of those presets, when it's done at 15, it'll throw all of that out. So that's a just quick tip. If you don't need to encode it, fine, no problems. If you do need to transcode it, switch to 30 before you record.
Well, top tip of the day there on the TechBytes from Gordon. And the final section now is one that might put you two at a disadvantage. I'm not sure here, but because I cover a lot of games software for Linux on my site.